A pleasant day, everyone. So, we are the Group 3 reporters, and today we are going to tackle our assigned task. So, everyone, may you lend your ears as we start our discussion. We are hoping that you will give your full attention to the discussion and, most especially, your cooperation and active participation in this matter. To formally start, I want to introduce myself first. This is Johanna Rose, the first reporter. So before to begin our formal discussion, let's have first an introductory activity. The main objectives of this activity is you will going to guess the picture of what does that image portrays or refers to. By the way, that particular image has something to do with our topic today. And as you can see, there are particular objects that conveys a hidden word. Now, all we have to do is to identify and analyze of what does the word of that corresponding images. All you need to do is to form a word out of that given pictures. So for the first image, so what do you think? Say answer, Ananya.
Cultural values.
Okay, very good. How about the second image?
Sociological theory.
Okay, sociological theory. Next picture.
Kanang entrepreneurship.
Okay, entrepreneurship. The fourth image.
Belief.
And last image.
Customs.
Okay, very good. So, with that given activity, our topic this morning has something to do with the theory of sociological entrepreneurship. So, it is a universal fact that entrepreneurship is an important factor in economic development. And talking about an entrepreneur, he or she is a risk bearer and works under uncertainty. Now, to open up the discussion this morning, sociological theory of entrepreneurship is different from other theories. And do you know why? Because sociological theory in terms of entrepreneurship are they tend to analyze entrepreneurial activities from the standpoint of social context and corresponding processes and effects. And you know what, guys? Various entrepreneurship theories have been proposed by scholars over different periods of time that aid in the process of the kanang development sa field sa entrepreneurship. And one of it, kanatong gitawag na sociological theory of entrepreneurship. So now, what is sociological theory of entrepreneurship? So according sa definition, it is a concept that proposes that secondary sources of entrepreneurship development are sociological factors. And some of the sociological factors includes attitudes and values that impacts entrepreneurial supply in a community. So according to this concept, the sociological factors are the secondary source of entrepreneurship development rather. And the identifying feature of sociological entrepreneurship theories is that ang focus niya kay on the social context of entrepreneurship development. So the field of entrepreneurship, by the way, can be traced back to the Industrial Revolution, in which kana entrepreneurial activity marked the rise of innovation that eventually promotes social change all over the world, not only sa atong country ra alone, but all over the world. So simply speaking, sociological theories focuses on social context of entrepreneurship behavior within Russia sa society. So that is the meaning of sociological theory of entrepreneurship. So let's proceed to the next slide. So the two major approaches of sociological theory of entrepreneurship. First is a classical approach and the modern approach. So, according dere, classical approach, it summarizes the works of Weber and Marx, including certain limitations and examples. And on the contrary, modern approach deals with theories such as Haslett's theory, McClelland's theory, Cochran's theory, and Schumpeter's theory. So these theories are influenced by both sociology as well as other fields such as economics, psychology, and cultural studies, and etc. So although classical sociology such as Max Weber and Karl Marx did not extensively theorize the act of entrepreneurship, but their works do possess mention how the entrepreneurial activity was a driving force of social change in earlier times. Next slide, please. So Max Weber, the first classical approach of uh, sociological theory of entrepreneurship is kaning gitawag nato the theory of social change by Max Weber. So Max Weber is was a German sociologist in the early 1900s. He attributed the spread of entrepreneurial activity to the ethical attitudes of a particular community. Moreover, this theory also explains how religion is intertwined with the act of entrepreneurship. According to Weber, an individual's interest in certain economic activities is determined by the ethical values that they have been taught by their community. So thus, from the given statement palang daan, religion plays an extremely important role in deciding economic behavior. So it denotes that Max Weber contended that entrepreneurial growth is dependent upon ethical value system of the societies concerned. So, ang central figure of this theory is it provides an analysis of religion and its impact on entrepreneurial culture. That is all about the theory of social change by Max Weber. Next slide, please. Next is the second theory of the second approach, classical approach is si Karl Marx, which ang iyang theory is gitawag na tog theory of capitalism. According to him, he classified that entrepreneur as the elite capitalist who appropriates profit and exploits labor through economic mechanisms. According to Marx, the entrepreneur sets up a process and aims to maximization of profits. However, he is not deserving of the surplus value that is generated from the process, since the source entity of that profit is a wage worker who has been exploited in the equation. So, uh, with that statement, makita dyan nato that Mark thus inadvertently vilifies all those who claim to be entrepreneurs. So, ang iyang critic of the capitalist system is very evident sa iyang work and his theory because it explains the driving force behind a large number of up and coming entrepreneurial organizations across the globe. So, for Marx, capitalism is a social order and it characterized by two conditions. And what are these conditions? First, things or gitawag na to commodities are produced for sale in order to make a profit. Kung ingon tag for sale, it is not for immediate use or consumption. And on the other hand, kung ingon tag for profit, it is not according to custom, it is not according to the need, and it is not according to tradition, or should I say it is not according to maintain a fixed standard for living. So that is the theory of capitalism by Karl Marx. Next. Slide, please. So the first theory of modern approach to entrepreneurship is Haslett's theory of leadership. So Hasletz defined entrepreneurship as majorly an act of leadership and control. He disagrees with the traditional Marxist approach, asserting that maximization of profits comes secondary in the act of entrepreneurship, while the primary factor is leadership style and management technique. According to Hoslets, most entrepreneurs hail from a particular social class. So, this class is usually endowed with kanang generational wealth and power, which further leads to training and development of leadership skills and individuals belonging to that particular class. Therefore, according to Hoslet's sociocultural factors like kanang class and community play an important role in determining the extent to which an individual will engage in entrepreneurial activity. And moreover, according sa ni Hoslets, entrepreneurship is a function of managerial skills and leadership. Business also requires finance, but that is of secondary importance. He further explains that a person who is to become an industrial entrepreneur must have more than the drive to earn profits and amass active manage. So in business, there are generally three types of leadership: merchant money lenders, managers, and in practice, lenders are market oriented and managers are authority oriented. But entrepreneurs have, in addition to this, a production orientation. So, in this context, it is important to note that making profit is not enough to succeed in entrepreneurship. Haslets opine that entrepreneurship can develop in a society where its culture permits a variety of choices and where social processes are not rigid. So, the social conditions should ensure the development of enterprise oriented personality. So, next slide, please. So McClelland's need for achievement theory. So this is the second modern approach of entrepreneurship. So according to the statement, this theory takes into account psychological factors that impact economic behavior. According to David McClelland, entrepreneurial activity is characterized by innate needs that eventually determine the extent to which an individual will engage in entrepreneurship. So these needs are the need for achievement, the need for power, and the need for affiliation. So kaning theory, iba ka na familiar ba mo ni Steve Jobs? So si Steve Jobs kay he is a CEO of Apple Incorporation and he was known to have a high need for achievement. So much so that he always chased perfection. So other successful entrepreneurs kanang frequently stress on the importance of high drive and passion in entrepreneurial setups. So in this context po, McClelland tries to find the internal factors like human values and motives that lead man to exploit opportunities, to take advantage of favorable trade conditions. So that is why he gives importance to the innovative characteristics of entrepreneurial role. So the entrepreneur is concerned with need for achievement. So the in achievement, kanang in achievement is sometimes called as a desire to do well, not so much for the sake of social recognition or prestige, but for the sake of an inner feeling of personal accomplishment. So this motive is called as the tendency to strive for success in situations involving an evaluation of one's performance in relation to some standard of excellence. So people having high need for achievement are more likely to succeed as entrepreneurs. Mao na siya ang theory ni McClelland. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so our third our third theory of modern approach to entrepreneurship is the theory of entrepreneurship by Coach Ran's cultural theory of entrepreneurship rather by Coach Ran. So Thomas Cochran emphasized significance of cultural values in both the attitudes of entrepreneurs as well as investors. So according to him, entrepreneurs are influenced by how their culture view certain factors of their occupation, such as risk-taking attitudes and difficulty level of career development. So, uh, kani nga theory ni Cochran's is a sociological theory of entrepreneurship supply. Si Cochran emphasizes cultural values. Sa kadyon nga gi-emphasize ni Cochran statement natay rule expectations and social sanctions as the key elements that determine the supply of entrepreneurs. According to him, an entrepreneur is neither a supernormal individual nor a deviant person but represents a society's model personality. So his performance it is influenced by three factors. First, his own attitudes towards his occupation. Second, the rule expectations held by sanctioning groups. And the last but not the least is the operational requirements of the job. In this context, society's values are the most important determinant of the attitudes and rule expectations. So this would be the end of my discussion, and I hope that you acquired lots of informations in this topic. So now I will give you the floor. I will give now the floor to Edeline Canteveros.
All right. Again, good morning, everyone. I am Evelyn, and I am the second presenter of the group. So, in continuation to the modern approach of entrepreneurship, we have a next slide, please. Right. Number four, sa modern approach is the theory of innovation by Sean Peters. So, Jean Peter attributed the entrepreneurial activity to creativity and innovation. So, when we say innovation or innovate, it's a new idea, method, or introduction of something new. So, di ba, the idea of this theory is basically ang innovator is the one who introduces new combination, wherein if you're an entrepreneur, dapat holistic imong perspective to what's going on sa society. And that has to do with your creativity. And according they're largely asserting that reformation of all processes related to goods and services is the only driving factor of entrepreneurship. So what does it mean? It means that dili stagnant or static. So dapat ang approach sa business is dynamic. So murag na changes whatever ang demand sa society. For example, unsa ang sikat sa society, dapat mukagat jud ang entrepreneur ana. And it's important also nga time to time mag-change ang business or like the product ba magka-improve ang product kay lain-lain baya og mindset ang each generation. So for example, sa kanang atong gigamit nga gadgets, di ba before ato ang naandan nga phone kay keypad inana, and time to time or year by year ang changes nga nahitabo kay vast or kay ang changes. So basically the business also dapat mo venture out sila into large also ideas. So that's why na invent ang mga touch screens nga phones or like gadgets, mga laptops and etc. So kaning theory of entrepreneurship or theory of innovation rather ni Sean Peter is ang entrepreneur mag-create siya og ideas nga i-offer sa market that would benefit the society with regard sa unsa ang demand or unsa ang mainstream sa business. So ang innovation is the realization of business idea. So I think ang kaning theory of innovation is not new to us or nato ninyong tanan because I know nga kanang kabaw na jud mo ani. So mo na siya kang Sean Peters na siya nga theory. So the fifth one sa modern approach is we have the Cochran theory of entrepreneurship. So this theory explains that the entrepreneurial approaches of an individual from standpoints like occupational hazards that he encounters and expectations he has from his own profession. So this theory means nga ang entrepreneurs influenced by their own attitudes towards their occupation and the expectations the groups facilitating new ventures as well as the difficulty level of operational requirements of the career. So, ang cultural values, ang roles, ang expectations kay nag-play sila og important role sa development sa entrepreneurship. So, kung unsa iyang perception sa position or sa iyang gibarugan, mag-reflect na siya how he or she derives to the idea of being an entrepreneur. For example, for example ako, hilig baron ko og like writing and anang stuff. So kana akong hilig or hobby or like passion, magkalid na siya to me to venture nga kanang maka-reflect sa kung unsa ako ang so like right it could be magkuan baron ko mag-business baron ko og mga pens, mga notebooks, mga books, and etc. So that reflects to my personal view that falls under the attitude of the person towards the profession, which is factor siya nga naka-shape to us as an entrepreneur. So, mo na siya ang kang Cochrane theory of entrepreneurship that is under the modern approach. So, the next one, okay, please go next slide. Number 6 is the E.E. Huygens theory of social change or Kang Everett's, or some also would call this as a withdrawal theory. So, C.E. Huygens introduced the theory of social change as an endeavor to explain how individuals change their social status in order to gain societal respect. So, the core notion aning a theory is that when individuals feel that they're no longer respected by society, they tend to implement innovative ways by means of which their social status can get positively transformed. So the aim aning a theory is to regain their lost status, and according to Hagen, ang entrepreneurship is a function of status withdrawal. That's why gitawag siya withdrawal theory. So, for example, like kaning sa like the samurai community of Japan, which traditionally enjoyed a high status, but over the years, kay marag nga lowered sila when they were defeated by other groups na superior ilang weapons. So, sa may pasabot, ani, kanang, ang samurai manggod community sa Japan is very traditional bitaw siya. And since modern naman, na naman to sa modern age, ang ilang weapons na gi-use is pang traditional. And then, nain mga nag-exist nga different nga mga samurai community pod nga ang gigamit is modern. So, basically, mas taas ang market modern. So murag na down ang samurai community nga traditional ay na lost ilang respect kay kuan kan because the demand sa tao is modern. So what they do is para mag-gain balik ilahang status, the samurai nga katong traditional, they pursued entrepreneurial development and connected the fastest growing Asian economy. So siya nga so nisod po din yung idea of innovation. Pero naka-influence lang is that because of the society's standards. So they change their ilahang more tradition into the modern or kung unsa ang demand sa society. So social change. So anong situation kay kanina, the prevailing social status can be indicated as the acquired tendency of an individual to become an entrepreneur. So, example, kuan siya, exist ang kaninga idea if kaning three situations. The first one is when the individual loses their existing status to a social status to someone. So, in other terms, or in other words, is kana from former higher status group to by new group. So like example, akong example, kanina katong samurai community, before ang samurai community nga traditional is high sila. But since of course na modern approach naman, nausab ang tan-aw sa mga tao nila because lahi naman ang demand. So in ani mo exist siya nga desire to change. The next one is please connect. So the second one is if there is any form of defamation of the values and position of the individual, someone superior to him. Another also reason kay kanang they need there is a need of social change kung na defamation, which leads to disrespecting someone's value, especially someone nga high ang position. So syempre ikaw if kanang kuan ka nga pagkatao kanang imong determination to create new ideas kay mag-base ta kung unsa ang gi kuan sa imong superior, that's an dili siya kanang batasan sa pagka-entrepreneur. Dapat ikaw mismo mag-initiate ka. How will you create a new ideas bisan o gilukdan ka someone that is superior to you. So, the tendency aning is that of course you have to implement new creative ideas or innovation para kanang makasabay ka sa kung unsa ang need sa society because social change man, right? The third one, which is the last one, if the individual is unable to accept the newly acquired social status due to the transformation of the existing society into new social orders. Example ani nga is kanang mga elders or like mga old ones, mga their stories reflect a more favorable past. So, murag namin yung conflict sa past o sa like the present. So, like kanang na-conflict sa relevance or timely na existing idea from the past. Kanang mga customs na to, like mga values na to before, ma-conflict na siya sa kung unsa ang ato ang belief right now. So, if ever nga, or like, if ikaw, entrepreneur ka niya, on traditional side ka niya, ang approach na karon sa business is modern, di ba? Kaya nga may mga naman tayo gitawag na technological advancements. So basically, kung ikaw nga pagka-entrepreneur ka na more on traditional ka na, dili bitaw mo kagat sa like sa market ng imong business because always imong gigamit, ikaw magtandik ka pwede ka mo go into social change. I like, oh yes, social change. Kay, moment ang into society, ang modern approach man, so mag-venture ka into new and something favorable sa imong business. So, monitor three situations, this social change. Alright, next, please. So, bottom line, sociological entrepreneurship theory has to do with first the social movement. We have determined that entrepreneurs creating this and introduce goals are goods that can be beneficial to society. The second one is the cultural values from family ties, trust effect, entrepreneurship, and yeah. So economists and in a theory, they believe that the cultural values deeply affect the entrepreneurship and economic development in a way that someone from a particular environment is motivated to innovate, create, and take risks with regard sa ilahang own culture and respect to their belief, ilahang norms, and etc. So family ties also, if a family support is with entrepreneur, then there will be a fruitful na effect. But ang polygamy nga does not care about businessman, then it can cause adverse effect. So it has to do with the individual or the entrepreneur's behavior and perception. So trust effect and entrepreneurship. According to Hostlitz, no, the person who introduces innovative ideas reject the traditional ways of doing things So therefore, economists believes that special attention given to society can improve the relations between the enterprise and its surroundings. So mo na sila ang um, bottom line sa kuan the idea of sociological theory of entrepreneurship. So if now may questions, you can ask through by leaving a message or comment sa G Classroom regarding with this topic or this part. So that ends my part. Then the next reporter will also further explain to you the ideological theory. So thank you so much for listening.
So hello everyone, good morning. I'm Esperanza Arnalin. So I will continue the report. So explain how sociological factors accelerate the growth of entrepreneurs. Ay bitaw guys, madungog ra ang tingog.
Yes, and
Okay, thank you. So meaning, unsa ang mga sociological factors nga mapadali ang kalambuan sa pagiging entrepreneur nimo o kalambuan sa imong business. So mga factors na makalambo sa business are the forces of the custom, values, the rigidity or flexibility of changing social status, acceptance of new ideas, freedom to exercise intellectual curiosity are determined by sociocultural values which act as channels for economic action that gives birth to entrepreneurship. So meaning mga factors na makalambo sa business tungod sa mga naandan or mga practices sa mga tao in a certain